interdimensional communication sessions. Many of Crowley's subsequent followers would attempt their own communication with this entity from another dimension, and over the course of these communication attempts, Lamb was considered to be a race of entity as opposed to an individual being. Could this be true? Is Lamb not simply a sole entity, but a race of entities from another world? And might we know these entities as grey aliens today? Is this a case of modern folklore being written in real time, or might this knowledge be the result of continued communication between these interdimensional beings and Crowley's followers? Unfortunately, Crowley himself would not elaborate on what was spoken of between himself and Lamb during these communication sessions. They remain, however, some of the most intriguing events on record, especially when we turn our attention to two of Crowley's followers who would attempt their own communication sessions just short of 20 years later. In January 1946 in Pasadena, California, Jack Parsons and L. Ron Hubbard would proceed with their own rituals in an attempt to recreate those of Crowley's in the Central Park West Hotel. And according to their own writings, these rituals were a success, and they did indeed manage to open a portal. It is perhaps interesting to note that both men would go on to have successful, if extremely different lives following these sessions. Parsons would start what would become the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, an organization at the cutting edge of technology, not least space travel technology. Hubbard, on the other hand, would begin the Scientology movement. Many have pondered whether the inspiration, influence, and subsequent success of both men in their endeavors is because of their communication with entities from other worlds during these sessions in the mid-1940s. To some, though, the topic of debate was not whether the amateur occultists had managed to open a portal with which to communicate with interdimensional beings, but whether they had managed to close it correctly or not. And according to some researchers, they didn't. And this failure to securely close the portal allowed permanent access to our world to those who resided in this other realm. Might this apparent failure to close the portal they had seemingly opened have resulted in all manner of entities and their flying craft coming into our world? Is it merely a coincidence that the UFO sightings began, many of them in the United States, in the years immediately following these sessions? Admittedly, this is pure speculation, but intriguing speculation.